Hello folks, Phil Galler of ThrabenU here for another modern video. Today we're going to be playing with Joshua P's Bug or Sultai Osmo food deck. So probably a month or two ago, I played with a version of the food deck and I really did not like it. It felt a little bit clunky to me. It felt like it didn't have enough win conditions and it felt slow. And we're going to see if this bug version has fixed some of my problems with the deck list. Now, this is a tier 2 donation deck list, which usually means that I make changes to the deck list prior to playing it. But because I'm less familiar with Modern, I'm going to outline what I think the changes are going to be ahead of time, and then kind of reevaluate in the deck tech. In Legacy, I am super comfortable making changes to deck lists because I understand the format very well. And with Modern, my understanding is okay, but not great in the grand scheme of things. I'm not a Modern grinder. I am a Legacy content producer at my heart. So let's kind of start with what the deck is trying to do, and then I'm going to try to identify some of the things that I think are a little bit weird about this deck. Okay, so generally speaking, you are looking to get Osmo into play. And when you get it into play, you get the Underworld Cookbook. And the Underworld Cookbook could also discard a card in order to help you get this into play. Now, once you have this, you're looking to create a whole bunch of food, which can then result in very large Urza construct tokens, Urza Saga construct tokens, or sagas from or large constructs from Urza himself, or large Nettlecysts, and then you go and end the game. And Finale of Devastation can be a 2-mana way to tutor for Asmore and put it. Lore people, let me know this character's gender. I have no idea what's going on here, and the pictures are small. Put them into play. And there's some other cute combos in the deck, like you can repeatedly discard Overchase Daredevil to the Underworld Cookbook, and because it makes a food, which is an artifact, you then get the Overchase Daredevil back. There's some cool synergies in this deck. Now, at a glance, here are the things that I thought were a little bit strange when I was looking at the deck list, and I'm gonna make another column here for a second. So with the mana base of this deck list, there's 8 fetch lands, right? And there's not a ton of actual targets to fetch. So if we pull it out, there's one of each one of the lands, and then basically one of each, basic land itself. Because this deck is seeking to play, the very strong Urza Saga, but also some of these check lands that are, making an impression of dual lands in Modern, you don't have multiple of these. And so I wonder if this mana base is constructed properly, or if there's maybe too many fetches, or you're trying to greed too much on these. The mana base is something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I don't know exactly what the mana base for this deck tends to look like, but this kind of sets off one of those caution alarm bells in my head, where sometimes I might not be able to fetch the land that I want. Especially since, we do technically have, some green and black cards in this deck, as well as blue cards. So not being able to fetch multiples of the same land could definitely come up at some points. The other thing I think is a bit interesting about this deck list, and might be a weakness, is that I think there's too many silver bullets in this deck list. So, for example, I don't know that Aether Spellbomb is a card that I actually want to be playing in my Modern deck. This does not feel like it's a high enough power level for the format, and I don't think Urza Saga being able to fetch it is a redeeming factor. Similarly, I don't think Springleaf Drum is particularly good in this deck, and I'm not sure that Springleaf Drum is the thing that I want to be fetching off in Urza Saga. So I'm going to be watching those 2 cards in particular, but the sideboard is sort of the same way, right? There's a Soul Guide Lantern, a Pithing Needle, and a Nihil Spellbomb. So there's a lot of slots dedicated to the Urza Saga package here. I'm not sure how that is. I will say, I absolutely love this Vraska art. I've never seen it before. That's pretty dope, so I'm pretty excited to be playing that card. Otherwise, I'm just unsure on some of the exact numbers here. So for example, this one Bone Shards in the main deck, is that good? Is the discarding a high enough upside because it's going to allow me to get this into play, or just use an Overchase Daredevil in that way? Like, is that high enough upside where, like, I can actually afford to do this, or is this going to be too much of a downside, and I'd wish that I just had, like, Fatal Push or something in the main deck? Those are the things that I'm going to be thinking about going into this league. Otherwise, I think a lot of the stuff here looks reasonable. Anyway, if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage content 5 days a week. If you're a regular, throw me a like. It's the easiest way to support my content for free. If you want to check out this deck list or get your own deck on the channel, that information is always available in the video description. Let's battle. Okay, so I won the die roll here. I have a Gilded Goose on turn 1, which means I could play Urza Saga on turn 2. I can't discard a card to cast this. I don't have green for this unless I use my food token. This hand good enough? This hand is a little awkward. Like, this hand may end up losing the Urza Saga without making construct tokens in some cases. This might still be good enough to be a keep, but this seems awkward to me. I guess it becomes very awkward if my Gilded Goose gets bolted and then I don't draw another land. Oh, let's try it out. I've got to learn how this feels, right? I will take my food, and then you can have your turn. But I suppose there's a decent number of draws that could really improve this hand as well. Don't bolt my bird. Okay, my bird has survived. Oh, okay, that's not bad. All right, so Saga. Now let's make a green with this. Green. Cast the Finale. 4-0. And hopefully we don't get like Spell Pierced or something. It's real bad if I do. Yes, I will search library. Alright, I will get Asmore. Yes. Grab the Underworld Cookbook. Cast the Underworld Cookbook. And then I can discard Overchase Daredevil on my opponent's turn. And now I'll probably be okay. Now I've got an engine going. You know, hopefully I can make an Urza Saga construct token and then, like, be squarely in the beatdown roll. The cool thing here is that, like, even if my Osmore dies, I have another. And I can just, like, discard Overchase Daredevil twice and end up being able to cast this for 1 mana. Okay. You have a little cantrip or something? Oh. We were probably playing against, like, Living Death. Okay. That's probably not the best for me. Okay, that is a Grief. I'll let that hit play and... I guess I'll go ahead and do this now. And return it back to my hand, and then I give my opponent the same choices. Okay, they took my backup Osmore. Which I'm good with. What random cycler do you have? I guess I should just, like, pop this out. I don't feel super good about my position. Like, if we get to the point where my opponent casts a Living Death, which can happen as soon as next turn, I'm not really in a great spot. The land helps a little bit. So this activates my Urza Saga. I could cast another Gilded Goose by eating a food. I don't know that that actually gets me anywhere. I guess it's technically one more point of pressure later. I think I am good with holding this. I will take my 3 damage. And my opponent could just play a Shardless Agent this turn and end me, basically. Okay. Do you have something that produces Living Death? Top 2 cards of your library, put 1 in your hand, the other in your graveyard. Sure. That's not quite cycling, but is basically cycling. That's a 7/7. That is a big body. Okay. So the good news now is that I am probably not getting Living Ended this turn. I will get a hit with this construct token, which is kind of a big deal. I'll make that. Discard this. Do the thing. I always yes to that. Probably not, because it's changing zones so frequently. Thought Monitor. Alright. Well, let's activate this. Get another construct. What do I want here? I think if my opponent puts all this stuff into play, removing one of them is not that big of a deal. I could get the Springleaf Drum and try to cast a Thought Monitor. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be 6. with Springleaf Drum, I can do that without eating a food. And, like, actually try to get to the point where I maybe kill my opponent this turn. Yeah, let's do that. Let's tap this creature, get blue. Play Thought Monitor. It puts another artifact into play. Overchase Daredevil will get me another, and then I will have lethal damage. Actually, I already just had lethal without getting Springleaf Drum. I could have gotten literally anything there, and then Underworld Cookbooked, and that would have been 10. Okay. So, I suppose the Graveyard Hate is fine. That'll be these two. And I suppose the Disruption is fine as well. Maybe board out the removal. It's kind of too late once their big things slip into play. Let's maybe trim at least one drop here. I could bring in a Pithing Needle to shut off specific cyclers. I don't know that that's actually good. My Street Wraiths are kind of nice in this matchup. Maybe I trim one Urza for being slow. And one Thought Monitor for being slow? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Something like that seems reasonable. This is turn 1 Goose, turn 2 Finale, and Thoughtseize. That seems okay. A Nettle Cyst shortly after. This seems fine. Like, even though my opponent can combo off on turn 3, I don't know that they always are going to combo off on turn 3. They do kind of need a critical density of stuff to really get the job done. Do I need to shock here? What do I want to get with my mana? I think I'm shocking at some point this game. I'm going to go ahead and do it now, in case my options change for some reason with my draws. I also want to give my opponent a turn or two to, like, find a Cascader, and then I'll take it with Thoughtseize. Like, I don't think I need to Thoughtseize on turn 1. Alright, so opponent's got a Misty. Are you doing anything else now? You're not doing anything else now. Alright, so let's go land, Thoughtseize you, and hope that we don't actually help you. Okay. So, I don't think I need to take the Living End from hand. Foundation Breaker could blow up a food or something. Yeah, I don't think this hand is particularly potent. I guess I'll take the Living End. I could just take the Foundation Breaker, but that gets that thing into the zone they want it to be in the first place. Yeah, I'll sort of begrudgingly take the Living End there. Then we'll go green for Finale. Done. Search. Osmore. Yes. Grab a cookbook. Pass the turn. The cookbook's not super potent right now. I don't have an Overchase Daredevil to really make it go off. My opponent will get to cycle a couple of Architects of Will here. See if they are shocking. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Yep, and then they'll cycle the second one. Yep. My artifacts are kind of whatever right now because my opponent has the Foundation Breaker. But again, I think I'm just going to cut off them suspending this and let them blow up one of my artifacts at some point for 2 mana. Okay, that is another Living End in the graveyard now. So there's presumably one more in the deck. Okay, so they drew another 1 mana cycler, is my read on this situation. I guess I can explicitly find out. Alright. I will Thoughtseize you. I guess it also could be a Veil of Summer. I don't know if my opponent's deck plays that. I also don't know if they would board that in against me. Alright, Force of Vigors. Foundation Breaker. Yeah, we might just be turning Asmore sideways a bunch of times, because like with another Force of Vigor in hand and the Foundation Breaker, things are awkward. Could also just take the Endurance before they hardcast it. Yeah, I don't hate that plan. Take that. I will play out an Underworld Cookbook. Go ahead and fetch. You can get me an island later so I don't have to get something now. Do I want to play Shadowspear now? I could play Shadowspear now. Alright. I will play out my Shadowspear. My opponent wants to use 2 cards to get rid of 2 of my things. I'm good with that. Send this in. Take the 3 damage. Suppose I do have to Worry's not the right word, but my opponent can just cast this thing as a 4-mana card in the not too distant future. I don't think I want a food more than either one of these two cards. Oh, shit. Yep. My opponent gets a good deal of power here. I haven't counted it up, but like there's a 5/5 hexproof plus an endurance plus the whale was a 7/7. I think I will be conceding to this once it's in play. Let's do a quick look-see at the board. Yeah, that's better than what I got going on. I'll go ahead and concede here. We can move on. Make a swap like this and just make it so that I have another way to get an early construct token. I'm not super confident about my ability to win more quickly than my opponent. I could play an Urza Saga on turn 1 and work towards putting Graveyard Hate in play. Or I could play an Urza Saga on turn 2 and actually make constructs while doing that. I don't know that this hand is strong enough. I'm going to keep it and hope my opponent is on the slower side of the spectrum. I'm not sure if I can get away with playing Gilded Goose on turn 1. Let's cycle Street Wraith. See what the next card is. Urza. Okay. Goose turn 1, Saga turn 2, 3 lands turn 3, plus the food is Urza. This is okay. Alternatively, I could just play Saga on 1 as, like, future Graveyard Hate. I think I'm going to do that. This means that this Urza Saga might not be the thing that wins me the game, but this Urza that I'm looking at is, I think, going to be the thing that wins me the game, and I think I'm okay with that. This is definitely awkward for me, though. Okay, some early cycling. Oh, okay, we just drew a Soul Guide Lantern. That gives me things to do with my mana this turn, I guess. Let's grab a Breeding Pool here. Yeah, I'll shock for that. Make the Goose. Grab my food. And I'll Soul Guide Lantern that Street Wraith away. I do have Force of Vigor to worry about. Which will potentially make things a little bit awkward. The next turn I'll have to decide if I want to play Urza or if I want to activate Urza Saga. I will get the choice, and I will get to do one of those things, not both. Force of Vigor. Fuck. Alright. Well, that is what it is. A very good 2-for-1. I also can't cast Urza next turn. Which sucks. I was gonna have 2 pieces. I was gonna have 2 pieces of Graveyard Hate, but it didn't work out that way. I'll just make a food this turn and then make Urza next turn. But my opponent, I think, has a pretty clear window to win the game. You know, I think they get to cycle this turn, cycle next. Oh, nothing to cycle this turn. That's good news for me. Are you gonna like land past me? It would be so good with that. Okay, yeah, we're lucking out here. So there's my food. Alright, you don't do anything yet. Blue, something else, something else. So it doesn't matter too much what I get here. Like a forest with this and then a swamp with this later. Alright, so eat a food. Do the Urza thing. Can't actually cast you currently. I can make 2 mana. I can't do anything with it, so this is just my turn. Okay, sure. As far as combat goes, I know my opponent is playing Endurance, so I am going to have to keep an eye out for that in combat. My construct is only a 2/2 currently. I feel like I'm supposed to be the beatdown here, and I'm just like not beating down very quickly. Maybe that means my hand was supposed to be a mulligan, or like maybe this deck is still just kind of slow. Like it has decent inevitability when it gets going, but I don't know. I'm so used to playing Legacy Madness where like you just hit like a truck and your plan against opposing combo decks is just kill them before they do their thing. And even though this deck can make some very large creatures, I don't know that it just has the kill them plan in that same capacity. I don't feel like I'm really an aggro deck. I think I'm closer to a mid-range. Okay. Goodbye, Construct Token. I will miss you. Urza Saga is also probably popular enough that I take a decent amount of splash damage from other things. Alright, I guess I'll just make a new construct here. I don't have black yet, so let's grab that. I'll keep this one. Alright, I will get in the red zone for 1 damage on turn 5. The good news is I have a Street Wraith and an Urza in the graveyard, so I guess technically I have about the same post a living end that I would pre-living end. My opponent has dealt so much damage to themselves through like fetching and Street Wraith that I don't actually need to do that much damage, but I just haven't connected in a meaningful way this game yet. Oh no. What does that mean if that's coming in untapped? I don't know, but I probably don't like it regardless. Even if it's just like casting one of these idiots, just something that gets in the way of my construct buys a lot of time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that probably beats me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they get 6 bodies to my 3 bodies. They don't have swamps, so my swamp walk doesn't matter. Alright, so there's the living end. Oh. Active player goes on the stack, the non-active player. Okay, so I'm going to dodge my construct being destroyed by Foundation Breaker. My opponent is going to pick their targets first. But my food, I guess, gets destroyed instead. Yeah, I don't think I beat that 7-7. My opponent's taking a while, so I'm actually just gonna concede here. Like GG's. Opponent did what they wanted to do, and I couldn't put up, you know, the 9 points of damage necessary to finish things out. Okay, round 2. I've got Gilded Goose into Urza's Saga. I guess that's fine. I can also like get Finale of Devastation in here somewhere. This is probably good enough to be a keep. But I'm just not super impressed by what my deck is doing thus far. So I guess I'm just going Goose on 1 off Blooming Marsh. And then I go Urza Saga into Finale of Devastation. But like my Urza Saga constructs are going to be so small right now. Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing something that's powerful enough for Modern. Shock with Watery Grave here? No, Urza Saga. I want to stay on that plan, I think. Alright, so Urza Saga. Green, green. Finale. And I'll go and get my friend. And they come with another friend. And we'll drop the Underworld Cookbook. And I guess I can convert some of these lands into foods to make my constructs more reasonable. But I'm not, like, super excited to do that. I mean, I guess I'll do it. But I'm not thrilled here. Okay. That's fine. Shock with Watery Grave. Get a blue source into play. Seems fine. Yes. I have 1, 2. This can be 3 artifacts, so we're not anywhere close to Thought Monitor. I guess I'll just attack for 3 and make an Urza Saga token. And we'll see if my opponent puts up any resistance. I don't know what kind of deck they are, but they kept their opening hand, so they've got to have something. Alright. We are veering towards the control spectrum, it looks like. Alright, I make a construct. Do I want to use the Underworld Cookbook again? Am I good with discarding this and just turning it into a food because it's worth damage? Probably. Because it also just means, like, Thought Monitor works towards being cheaper as well. Alright. Then we'll activate this. 5/5 seem to be a 6/6. What do I want here? Another cookbook doesn't do me a lot of good right now. Shadow Spear is very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. Maybe this Springleaf Drum specifically for the Thought Monitors is actually okay. There's Thought Monitor. Okay, it does resolve. There was a long pause there, though. Okay. Guess I will go ahead and fetch. Just grab, like, a forest here. I'll play the Goose, because that represents 1 more point of damage this turn. Now I'll swing in with these 2. And if I want, I could discard a card for 1 more point of damage. I'm not sure that 11 versus 12 damage here matters all that much. Accordingly, I'm not going to discard. This could be important to take a Planeswalker out of play if things get weird. Alright. Opponent is at 4. If I eat a Supreme Verdict or equivalent. Yeah, draw your cards. Alright. Is there a Supreme Verdict in my future? I think I can beat double removal spell pretty easily. Okay, what do I need to play around here? Settle the Wreckage? That a modern played card? I'm not gonna attack with all my creatures to play around Settle the Wreckage. Okay, are you gonna Cryptic Command and tap down my creatures? Okay, yeah, it looks like that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, tap draw is fine. Do I want to play this Urza? If I play it, I can immediately start spinning the wheels, but it just like makes me worse against the Supreme Verdict. I think I'm not going to play it accordingly. I just want to have the backup creature for after a potential board wipe. Okay, cool. Okay, what do I have versus a generic control deck? I've got 2 Planeswalkers that I can board in. I could board in Thoughtseize to try and punch a hole. I'm not sure that's better than just having a high density of threats, though. Let's assume that I grind relatively well when I actually have like an Overchase Daredevil sort of situation. So let's just board in these 2 cards. Let's board out the Spell Bomb and out the Fatal Push and see how that feels. And if it feels like I need Thoughtseize, I'll take that when I'm on the play. Yeah, so this hand does not have functional mana. This one has to be a mulligan. Like, I could play Underworld Cookbook, discard a card. I don't have the mana necessary to cast this. This hand is painfully slow, but has a ton of top end. I think I'll keep it. Yeah, I'm supposed to throw back the card with cool art, fortunately. Like a Gilded Goose would be super cool with my current hand. Urza Saga is not bad. I can't really play it yet, though. So let's just go Verdant Catacombs and pass. Okay. Looks like we're both just going to set up mana for a little while, which probably favors my opponent. Okay. You came back to me. Am I playing Urza Saga this turn? I probably do. It's really awkward losing this land when I have so many expensive things to play. But it's a great value proposition to start working towards this immediately. All right. Do you have a Teferi or something? No. Cool. All right. I will go ahead and just fetch now. Maybe grab a Breeding Pool here. And then pass the turn. I'll have an end of turn Urza Saga token, followed by a Sorcery Speed, Urza Saga token, and then hopefully I draw another land and can Nettle Cyst as well. Alright, looks like my opponent is going to be missing land drops, which is nice for me. Hopefully I can hit my own land drops here. Nope. Alright. So, there's another Duder. I have to, like, begrudgingly get this Springleaf Drum rather than the Cookbook. Because I just, like, need mana since I'm about to lose a land. I think so. Alright, I won't knock the Springleaf Drum anymore. Alright, I think I can attack for 3. Let's see if we get ambushed by anything here. Okay. It's not an ambush, but the Fatal Push is pretty bad for me. We're both missing land drops currently. I would say normally that favors me, but like given the texture of my hand, I have like almost all of my most expensive cards. This isn't bad. This means I can set up this thing. Okay, I also hit a land drop. That all in all, this is very, very good for me. All right, so let's dump this sucker into play. Or not. I think I'll just grab a Nettle Cyst then, rather than back in for maximum damage here. And this means that smaller creatures in the future are more threatening as well, which is really good. What do we got? Prismatic Ending? Yep. What's the follow-up? A second Prismatic Ending. Okay. We will be taking our time then. 3 mana, so that means this play is, while not forced, pretty necessary. And then I have 1 mana, not anywhere near enough for Thought Monitor. Okay. I am not sure who is quote-unquote winning currently, but it doesn't necessarily feel like me. Please land. Please land. Damn it. I have no play this turn. 3 artifacts, so Thought Monitor costs 4. Can't Overchase Daredevil. Wow, yeah. I don't have enough mana to cast any of the cards in my hand, and I have 6 cards in hand. Oh, that's painful. It's like Idiot Check myself costs 4. I have 3. That's rough. All right, I think we lose the game this turn by not having the mana to deploy my stuff. It's going to take a while for me to actually lose, but I think like this Jace Brainstorm on an unchecked board is absolutely devastating to me. Because now my opponent gets to find counter spells and other forms of safety. I don't think I easily grind through this. Yeah, so I fetched Watery Grave earlier to work on turn 1 to work towards Tezzeret and Urza, and now I'm punished by like drawing Dark Slick Shores specifically afterwards. Yep. What a disaster. Yep. It's real rare that I have a full grip and literally can't cast anything like this. This is ultimate feel bad. Is this like a big Teferi? Okay. I'm going to just concede the game if I miss a land drop here. I'm not going to come back from that much card advantage. I'm probably not going to come back already. Yeah, okay. Concede. That's that was very sad. Do I want a needle now for the walkers? That's probably better than the Shadow Spear. Okay. Turn 1 Marsh Cookbook. Turn 2 Discard Finale. Play Osmore, get a second cookbook, play it. Hope to draw a land and have a big Nettle Cyst. I guess. I'm not super stoked about this hand. It just kind of is what it is. I don't think I immediately discard any other card. I think I'm using this to get this into play rather than using it for some other purpose. Like, I'm not just using this to increase my raw artifact count currently. I'm not like that far ahead. Oh, geez, a prismatic ending makes it so that this hand does nothing. Yikes. Okay. I'll play a goose. And if the goose is still alive next turn, I can Finale of Devastation and get an Osmore into play. Or alternatively, just play out a Nettle Cyst. I'll probably go for the Osmore setup. But I already feel like, fuck. I'm just gonna die being able to not cast my cards again. Okay. Control deck is making land drops. I have not dealt damage to control deck. Life is bad. Okay. So I guess that means I just hard cast this. Okay. I will get the cookbook. Now I can fetch and play a Nettle Cyst. I need green, green, and blue, blue. So a breeding pool. Yes. Make a green. Go for a Nettle Cyst. It kind of sucks that I am eating these foods which are growing my Nettle Cysts in order to like get this thing into play. And like my Nettle Cyst is a 2/2. This is way worse than the Nettle Cyst of Affinity. Which are often boosted by artifact lands and your other permanents. I don't know. Again, fuck. Alright. So finale. Done. Search the library, pull another one out of there. Yes. Grab a cookbook. Play a cookbook. Again, even when I equip this, I only have 3 artifacts. 4 after I play this other Underworld cookbook. I'm gonna get just owned by a Fatal Push or equivalent. This is very good, though. I don't need to play this pre-combat, I don't think. So cookbook is not legendary. Go and equip my Nettle Cyst. Or sorry, yeah, equip my Osmore with Nettle Cyst, rather. Don't do it. God damn it. The equip now fizzle. Yeah, I think they needed to wait for the equip to resolve, and then they end up with the Nettle Cyst equipped to it. Yeah, so I think that was a screw up on their end. I mean, obviously it's still fine. I have an Urza Saga. Not a removal spell for that, because, you know, how cards work. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling terribly good about what I'm doing. It's Big Teferi again. Yeah. I just feel like this is slowly slipping away. Like my opponent gets to untap 2 lands now. Hers is a great draw. Unless I get counterspelled. In which case, this is worse than just making an Urza construct token. But if this doesn't get counterspelled, it's really dope. God damn. God damn it. Now I miss out on a construct token because I tried to like play Urza and then use its mana abilities to activate my Urza Saga. I think I need to take the high upside line. But I've gotten Omega punished for it. I just don't know that like making the constructs is good enough when this thing can just like minus and nuke a construct token. Okay. I guess I can Pithing Needle one of these and try to kill the other. But like, which one do I kill? I guess I like needle the Jace and then try to discard my card for turn and nuke Teferi. No, I suppose I do that the other way around. I suppose I just... Okay. Alright, I make my construct. And I fetch out Pithing Needle. Guess I'll needle Teferi. I hope my needle actually doesn't get destroyed. Hero, right? Hero. Alright. Go off Teferi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this does cost 1. I can try to do this to do something more meaningful with bone shards. Okay. Oh, this is a very good draw. Okay. Now I will bone shards with discard a card and blow up Jace. And hopefully that works. That's a Snapcaster counterspell. So my construct is going to get unsummoned. That's not the best for me. Yep, so there's the counterspell. Jace will minus, kill my construct. I will be able to equip Thought Monitor with Metal Cyst and kill Jace, maybe? Oh. Jace is brainstorming. Which could just mean I'm about to get Supreme Verdicted and everything is moot. Okay, no attacks in. Okay. Is 2 to equip. 2 to equip. Put it on Thought Monitor. Thought Monitor is theoretically lethal damage this turn. 10, 11 from Construct, 12 from Underworld Cookbook, discarding Nettle Cyst. What is this returning? This is returning the Pithing Needle. That's inconvenient. I guess that's happening. And now I have to choose between getting a new Urza Saga Construct token or re-Pithing Needling the Teferi. The Pithing Needle... Bouncing this Pithing Needle only makes sense if they have the counter spell for this, right? I should not just cast this Pithing Needle and give up a construct. Alright. Alright, goodbye that construct. Now my opponent has a pair of Planeswalkers that get to activate at least once. We'll see what my opponent does with Teferi. They have a lot of options. Taking the Nettle Cyst off the board takes a lot of pressure off of them. EE for 1 is really good. That checks this Pithing Needle as well. And might make my Urza Saga significantly worse. Okay, no attacks from the opponent. I will make my token. Okay, is this a castable card now? I don't think this is a castable card since I'm about to lose a mana source. I think I'm going to go ahead and cycle this. Just see what I draw. Use that to inform my decisions. That can be another Osmore. Alright. Go yeah. Yeah, make the token. Bumps us to a 10-10. Not really going to be lethal though. Because I'm about to lose some stuff here. EE is so good. Kind of like a 0 drop here to get to avoid the EE. Guess I'll just let Springleaf Drum get blown up. I will now cast this Pithing Needle. And a weird little sub-game will happen. Counter and tap down. Rough. Okay. Do I want a Finale? Finale just like leans me harder into this Engineered Explosives. Which sucks. So I guess I don't. Yeah, I guess I don't. Okay. I'm also straight up in danger of dying to my opponent attacking me twice. Like, they could attack me for 5, Cryptic Command again, attack me for 5, and I lose. The Fairy is also like 1 turn away from ultimating. So I think I might be in the situation where I have to kill my opponent on my next turn, or they win. My opponent has like a path for the Thought Monitor. That would be extremely bad for me, for example. Oh shit, that sure looks like a Cryptic Command kill to me. I go to 5. Alright, what else do you have? You're just gonna like take an extra turn? That could be something that could beat me here too. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. I think I can concede to that, unless my draw is just absolutely batshit insane. Yeah, well, guess I can pretend. Oh, no, hold on. My opponent Teferi emblems and then brainstorms and exiles 3 of my permanents? No, that straight up beats me. I can concede to that. GG's. Okay. This opening hand doesn't do anything. I can't Finale of Devastation with the mana that I have. Cookbook isn't doing anything on its own. This is a mulligan. This hand might do things. Or it might do nothing and die. I probably have to throw back Finale of Devastation because I keep this hand. Because like I have 2 lands that don't contribute towards casting it, and then we play the Street Wraith Lottery. Okay. I'm not hopeful for this league at this point. Okay. Alright. Opponent has a spell bomb. I hurt myself today. And don't really get anything for it. I can't Urza Saga on 1 effectively. I guess I'll just play this tapped Watery Grave. Rough. Yeah. You fucker. I cycled 2 Straight Wraiths and you show up 1 card later. It just fucking top 10 anime betrayals right there. Oh, I'm super surprised my opponent cycled that Aether Spellbomb in the face of my Urza Saga. This one? I don't think I'm playing Finale of Devastation anytime soon, so I think I can just play something that doesn't cost me any life. I want to make my construct right here on the off chance that my opponent were to Pithing Needle in Urza Saga. You didn't float mana? Okay. I'm confused. Okay. That's fine. Alright. I will make a new construct. What are you doing with the timing of your cards? Sure. Cookbook here probably. Grab cookbook. And then I want green black. Fetch. Grab Overgrown Tomb. Yes. Discard the Overchased Daredevil. Yes. Play an Asmore. Yes. Grab a new cookbook. Pass the turn. You can have your card from the bauble. I'm going to build a lot of power very quickly. But like this is turn 5. My opponent has missed multiple land drops now. Sure. Okay. That's fine. I don't know what my opponent's deck's plan is yet. That is not clear to me. Oh, I see. You are straight up a combo deck. I'll just cycle this, find something new. Make an Urza here. I don't think I want to shock myself again. Or green for Finale. I can make mana in other ways. Let's tap the food. Make an Underworld cookbook. Discard. Always yes, always yield. Discard. Yes. Tap 1. Tap 2. Springleaf Drum is effectively free here because I can tap it itself. Tap this. Play Nettle Cyst. Bash for 3. And I will have multiple foods at the ready for the use with Osmore. Okay, sure. This is 6 damage to creatures only, right? Yeah. Okay, why would you show me more cards and then concede like that? Okay, so we were playing against some sort of artifact deck, so I will probably board in these Force of Vigors. It'll be really disgusting against portable holes. My opponent has Urza Sagas. Maybe I'll do this as well. I'm not sure how much of this top-endy stuff I want. It seems like my opponent is going to be playing a control role, but I also need to respect Urza Saga constructs. I think I'm gonna junk. My opponent did show me Planeswalkers. I don't know. I still don't think Bone Shards is particularly good. I think I'm gonna work on getting my opponent dead while respecting some of the things that they can do. And maybe try something like this as a starting point. When I'm on the play, I might play these 4-drops, but my hand kind of clunked up before when I had them. Maybe I'm wrong in cutting the Shadow Spear versus like either Spellbomb. Like maybe I need the Shadow Spear because it's an Urza Saga mirror. Maybe I do want this Pithing Needle for the Planeswalker, but like I don't know how many walkers my opponent actually has. I haven't seen a deck quite like this one before. Okay, my mana doesn't work with this hand. This is another one of those hands that like could do everything or could do absolutely nothing. Am I willing to keep this? This might be better than 5. I'm super unhappy about this. I'm gonna bin the Overchase Daredevil. It could be very good if I get, you know, specifically an Underworld Cookbook. But if I don't, you know, it's a dead card. Okay. Maybe I was wrong about my evaluation of the deck's role if they're playing Welding Jar. No, don't give me more land. Alright, let's fetch a tapped land, I guess. I can play Blooming Marsh on 2 in Finale. This needs to be blue-green. Alright, there's my breeding pool. What do you have? That's a pretty good one. That's a good one to have. Alright. Marsh, Finale. Done. And we'll pick up an Asmore. Gives me an Underworld Cookbook. A hand. It feels like what my opponent's doing currently is faster than what I'm doing. I might have more endgame inevitability right now. It's very hard for me to evaluate where my opponent's deck is on the like aggressiveness spectrum. When I saw that Teferi, I definitely thought things were going to be lower than Welding Jar. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay. I guess this is an unimpressive Nettlecyst turn. And I guess I'm also attacking for 3. This is just a 2/2 right now. Alright, opponent's at 17. They'll make a construct, and they'll get a second construct. Their stuff's going to be bigger than my Nettlecyst for a little while. Hopefully I can go ham once Urza is in play. I'm definitely missing the Overchase Daredevil that I threw back in the opening hand. But I don't regret throwing it back. Like, I think it was the correct decision, but I very much would like it now that I have the Underworld Cookbook. Are you floating mana rather than making a new construct? This is surprising to me. Oh, they're grabbing a Pithing Needle and presumably shutting off my Nettlecyst. Oh, they're choosing the Underworld Cookbook. Okay. Sure. Okay. Huh. That's fine. I think I'm gonna try to get bigger than my opponent's constructs. Okay, let's see what I can do. I'll pick up a basic land here, just so I don't take damage. I will play my own Urza, which gives me a construct. And tap this Nettlecyst without really changing anything. And put an Underworld Cookbook into play. And then I can tap that to put a Springleaf Drum into play. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this costs 3 currently. I cannot cast this. I can get 2 mana a couple of different ways. I can't get the 3rd. Alright, I am at 10 life. I need to survive for a little while. But if I can survive for a couple of turns and like get this Thought Monitor going, I might pull ahead. It's just so awkward because my opponent plays 1 artifact and all of a sudden I'm staring down 2 5/5s. Like this turn specifically. It's quite bad for me. Okay, there's a portable hole. Okay. Makes sense. So those are now 5/5s, so I am now officially in the danger zone. And it seems like there's more. Is my opponent just spinning the dice with Urza? Spinning the dice, rolling the dice. Okay, that's a Thopter Foundry, so now there's 6/6s. Life's bad, basically. Jump block with Osmore this turn. Go to 4. Try that. But life's pretty bad. I also just, like, lost a couple of artifacts, so now my Thought Monitor is harder to cast, too. How much is this right now? This is 4. Fuck. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thought Monitor. Gotta get lucky. I don't know what I'm looking for exactly. That's pretty damn good. This junked a construct, so I'm not getting anything back. Okay. Well, I'll fetch. Just pick up a basic again. Let's tap this, I suppose. Going to get both constructs here. Guess this is an instant. I can do it later. I've already started clicking. I have committed to my fate. To be fair, though, they are mana as well. Oh yeah, the welding jar. 1, 2, 3, 4 artifacts. I can't cast another Thought Monitor. So I guess my turn ends here. Yeah, something else too. Oh, yeah, you can sacrifice the portable hole that does not have anything under it for free. Good play. I can also Academy Ruins that to the top now. That can get rid of my germ. Means I'm in a chump block situation again. And my artifact count is just, like, not great currently. Meaning that, like, re-equipping the Nettle Cyst is not gonna get me anywhere near lethal with Thought Monitor. Here comes the construct. I guess I need the Urza. But I am very potentially just dead to flyers off of Thopter Foundry in the not too distant future as well. That's an Osmore, but I don't have the food necessary to use its fighting ability. 4 mana again. Everything's bad. Thought Monitor. Try to find something better to do with my turn. Underworld Cookbook is off, so this is quite bad. I don't know why exactly I'm struggling. I think this one is over and I should just concede. But I have hopes and dreams that maybe someday I can put a W on the board with this deck. Yes. There's a cookbook. I'll play it. Guess I play this land. How much is this to equip? It's 2 to equip this. I can go 1, 2. Equip this to my Urza. Then it has a real big butt for blocking constructs. Insert the nice jokes into the YouTube comments. Alright. So Thopters are still sort of an imminent threat since I am at 3 life. I do have a flyer. Yeah, but this sort of thing is just going to happen, and then I'm going to die in 1 attack to 4 Thopters coming in. Okay, looks like they're going to activate it again, even. Oh, they can activate it 2 more times, and I can just die immediately. Yeah. Okay, I mean, I see the writing on the wall. GG. Well played. Sweet deck. Oh, we're not done with this round yet. Okay. I think I want the Vraska for destroying things like portable holes. Let's junk a Thought Monitor. My opponent was doing a pretty good job of keeping my artifact count in check. Okay, what are we looking at? A lot of cookbook. Am I supposed to keep a hand that looks like this, that just has the ability to make infinite foods? Not literally, but figuratively. Probably not, right? I get like 1 redraw plus the redraw for next turn. And if I miss on those, I'm just like spinning my wheels making food. Nah, I think I mulligan. This hand isn't particularly strong. I guess I keep it. I throw back this Thought Monitor because it's very far away from castable. But I'm just like not impressed by what my mana looks like currently. Alright. This I guess fetches Underground Overgrown Tomb and shocks for it. And I think I'll put the cookbook into play first rather than the Shadow Spear. I'm still in a really bad position if I don't draw a land, because I'm just gonna like miss out on making Urza Saga construct tokens. I get 2 draws to hit a land, and I'm in really bad shape if I don't. All right, what do you have? Sure. I'm not gonna make a food here. My cards are too valuable. Okay, I did hit a land. That's the good news. I will get to attempt to make construct tokens. Bad news is the constructs aren't particularly large right now. Guess I'm gonna... Am I gonna Assassin's Trophy that, rather than make my own construct? No? No, I don't think I am. I do need blue mana, though, which means I'm shocking myself. Breeding pool for green, green. Okay, I'm at 12, and I've dealt all of the damage to myself. Modern mana bases. Okay. Hopefully I recoup most of this with Shadow Spear. If my Shadow Spear were to get answered, my opponent is not going to have to do a lot of work to actually kill me. Fine. Alright, so... Token again. Yeah, you can make yours too. I want you to feel left out. And honestly, I probably would have Pithing Needled Urza Saga if they didn't do it there. Cookbook. Cookbook. I'll crash in. And then after no blocks, discard this thing. And deal 5. I'm ahead on board here, but a lot can happen in this turn cycle. I think if it makes it back around to my turn, and I still have both constructs in play, I'm a pretty big favorite to win. Looks like my opponent is just floating mana, rather than getting a second construct. Okay, sure. Stop my cookbook. Yep, my cookbook has been stopped. New Urza Saga. That's spooky. You have an Urza on top of that? They do. That's rough. Oh, please no more. Fuck. Fuck! Okay. Oh, trample. Trample and lifelink. I probably need to Assassin's Trophy the Engineered Explosives so I don't lose both of my constructs. But I am very much in danger of dying on a crackback. Like, on board, I'll destroy EE, so my opponent will have 3/3 tokens, 4/4 tokens with Urza Saga, so I'll take 9 on an attack back. My opponent probably just makes some chump blocks this turn with the intention of activating EE, but that's not 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and crash in. I will let my opponent make decisions. Oh, you have more. Oh, right, you can do that and just kill my constructs. Right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Can't use these for mana or anything right now. Alright. I have 3 mana to work with. I can Assassin's Trophy this and get the Underworld Cookbook going. I guess that's what I'm doing. Or I can Assassin's Trophy the Urza Saga. I think I Assassin's Trophy the Urza Saga. And then try to Vraska away the Pithing Needle and take the game over that way. Let's see if it works. It does. And then I'll go ahead and fetch. I'll want to work towards, I guess, blue technically. Let's grab the dual land. Alright. Let's see if I can rip a land for Vraska. Oh boy. That's not too scary. It's annoying. But that's not, instantly win the game levels of good. Does mean that my Vraska is going to have like a real choice for what it destroys if I actually rip the land to cast it. Modern mana bases. Yeah. If the Teferi doesn't plus and the Teferi just like sits there, or sorry, if the Teferi just pluses and doesn't actually get cards out of it, it's not so bad for me that sits there. I might need to Vraska destroy the Underworld Cookbook though, so I can put Osmore into play. Yeah, okay. Now my opponent has gained value off of Teferi. And this can also just be equipped to Urza and double my opponent's clock. I don't know, they're going for some big play. Just Urza spinning. War of Invention. Oh, that's gonna be shit. Shit! So they make a mana. I'm going to show you an iteration or two of this and then concede. Alright, so my opponent makes a mana, they attach Sword of the Meek, this now gives them 2 mana, and then they can use 1 to sacrifice this, and they end up with infinite creatures. I'm not going to beat that, I'm going to go ahead and concede to that, I understand what's going on. GG's. Okay, looks like we were playing against a Kahira deck this round. Looking at my opening hand, I can play a Gilded Goose on 1 and a Nettle Cyst on 2, but that's not good. The Overchase Daredevil does nothing, the Street Wraith maybe does something. I'm going to mulligan this one. What does this hand do? This hand cycles a Street Wraith and plays an Osmore on turn 1. It has an Overchase Daredevil. I'm going to keep this hand. Is this get rid of Thought Monitor? Probably get rid of Thought Monitor. Despite the fact that, like, that is a totally fine card, I think I would rather guarantee my first 2 land drops and my colors, rather than have some card draw. The Thought Monitor would be slow to get online. Like, I can do it with Underworld Cookbook, but not the fastest thing in the world. Do I cycle the second one now? Sure. Goose. Ow. It stings. Alright, so there's an Underworld Cookbook. So here's the thing that I'm not liking about this general strategy, right? Like, I'm going to have an Osmore and 2 Underworld Cookbooks with Overchase Daredevil on turn 2, and I don't think it means anything. Like, that's not really killing my opponent. It just makes some food. That's my biggest problem with this deck right now. Oh, fuck. That's real good. So, my opponent gets to keep a Solitude, and yeah. Now let me double check the exact text of Ephemerate. It has Rebound, right? So I really don't want to play another spell. Sorry, a Goose specifically. I guess I just make some food then. Alright, so let's do the thing with Overchase Daredevil. Always yes, always yield. We play the other cookbook. Guard this, yes. And I'm just doing this at sorcery speed purely so I can just talk about my opponent's turn. Probably technically correct to do it at instant speed. So my opponent has a 3/2 like lifelinker in play. Oh, great. This is the 8th point of damage I've dealt to myself this game. Oh, cool. No. Goose. Yeah. I feel like this deck is just spinning its wheels without really doing anything. Like, I had kind of an impressive 6-card opening hand, but all of this doesn't really do anything. So, yeah, I don't know. I expect to lose this round drop, and we'll try to see if we can salvage this deck somehow. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, you can junk one of my foods. I do not care about that. I'm just going to die to a 3/2. Okay. Now I have something interesting. Alright. Let's do this thing. Make my constructs, I guess, as big as possible before I put the Urza into play. Alright, do it again. Yes. And floop the Urza. Good thing my opponent just played the Teferi out rather than waiting. Oh. Rough. Alright. Let's make some mana. Guess I have no reason not to make the other mana. I have to click here. 5 mana, let's spin the dice with the Urza. Cool. Alright. So that's goodbye, Urza. I still get my construct. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Sorry, I didn't get to mute that one. Okay, so that's gonna be my turn here. I can't play this land. I have a 9/9. My opponent has any removal spell here. My board will do nothing again, I guess. I might be put in the position where I like give up an Underworld Cookbook to get something back from my graveyard. Okay, that's just Kahira to hand. That's not too bad. That's awful. Alright, and I'm down to 7. Okay, that delta doesn't do me any good. So it's 4. Oh, it's just... Urza went to exile from Prismatic Ending, and the other things went to exile as well. Cool. Yeah. We cast in a 4/2? We're probably casting a 4 too. Let's do the whole food thing first. Alright. So I will make. Okay, hold on. I need to double check your text. It's been a while. You are an elemental, right? Yep. Okay. That'll turn that into a 4-3, and this will be a 3-2. And this Overchase Daredevil in play is not impressive if it just trades with one of these two creatures, but I probably have to do it. Not thrilled about it. I have green, I have blue, I have black. I'll just take the dual land out of the deck. Get something with power in play. Pass the turn. I can start eating food if I have to stay alive, but I think once I hit the point where I'm just like chomping through food, I'm going to be far enough behind that I'm probably not realistically winning. Alright, Urza Saga is great. How am I attacking? The Crackback is kind of scary. I guess I can gain 6 life. The Crackback's not that scary. Try to kill the Planeswalker and see what happens. Okay, I just get to kill the Planeswalker. That's fantastic. Alright. So let's play an Urza's Saga. And pass the turn. I can eat a bunch of food, or I can make some food. I've got options here. Okay. Just eat enough food to stay alive here. I mean, a 9. I'll take 7 here. That's a fine starting point. I'm down to 2. So I will then make a food and crack a food. Alright, I'm back up to 5. So, alright, we're not getting a 10 or greater. Just pick up an Asmore this turn and then try to dominate combat. That seems fine. Alright. Here's the finale. Search the library. Grab Asmore. Yes. We'll grab an Underworld Cookbook. Which I do have the mana to cast. Okay, now have that Kahira kill itself by sacrificing 2 foods. Alright. Then we'll have the Solitude kill itself by sacrificing 2 other foods. I'll send in my Overchase Daredevil, and then end of my opponent's turn, I'll make an Urza Saga construct token. Alright, I turned this one around. We got a couple of lucky top decks. Like Urza Saga into Finale of Devastation was very, very good. Okay. I think it's fine to just kill that thing. The constructs don't need to be that big if my opponent has like no permanence, right? The killing speed doesn't matter if my opponent is like basically hellbent. I have something and they have nothing. Okay. Well, make one of these now. Oh, Shadow Spear is a good pickup. Let's get that. Let's Shadow Spear equip to the construct. And go ahead and send in. Alright. I am back to a respectable life total, which means I can actually cycle this card. I'm willing to eat a food for this. Alright. Draw a couple cards. Alright. Hey, my deck is doing the thing. It feels nice. Okay, we turned that game around, which was fantastic and honestly unexpected. I had a lot going for a while there with multiple Underworld cookbooks and the Daredevil, and it didn't really matter, but then I kind of top decked into like an Urza Saga, and a Finale of Devastation that really let me take off. So my opponent has like Solitudes and Ephemerates. I probably want some amount of additional creature removal, either in the form of Fatal Push or Assassin's Trophy. I don't know how good the... Alright, so I don't really like the Spell Bomb. I don't really love the Bone Shards. Most of the other stuff looks okay. Fatal Push missing Solitude is kind of a big deal. Still kills Kahira. I think I'm just going to board like 2 Assassin's Trophy as additional removal spells and call that good. Okay. I don't have the mana to cast this Osmore. Like, I have Underworld Cookbook, Island, Overchase Daredevil. I'm not really getting to the Thought Monitor quickly, and I can't cast the Osmore. I think this is a mulligan. This hand doesn't do anything. I can't cast Osmore. Shadow Spear on its own doesn't do anything. Assassin's Trophy does not make a hand keepable on its own. I'm gonna go to 5. This hand also doesn't really do anything, but at 5, I think I have to keep it. I think I'm keeping Gilded Goose as a mana sink. I think I'm keeping Urza Saga as the way that I'm hoping to win the game. Maybe not gamble on Street Wraith being better than one of these other cards. And I'll BIM the Overchase Daredevil. And just hope that I can string together constructs in a way that's meaningful. Not super hopeful for this game. We'll see. I thought I was losing the last one, too. I ended up being wrong. Blue, huh? They're like some Soul Herder shenanigans I didn't see last time. I have blue, so I'd like access to green and black here. And let's unloose the goose. Oh, sorry, with the blue, that was for Teferi. Okay, yep, and Teferi is back. Sure. I mean that's a nuisance. Street Wraith, not feeling great. Am I just gonna start making Urza Saga construct tokens? Or do I want to make I probably just want to make a food and play Urza next turn, honestly. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. Awkward Mana Dork is awkward. But, like, it's very clearly the best Mana Dork for this deck because of, like, the artifact sub-theme that's going on. Yup. What awful, horrible thing do you have for me? A lot of self-damage. Oh. Just straight up a draw 2. Oh, it would be real sick with Ephemerate, though. Okay, that makes sense. Yep, alright. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and make my food now, then. That is a lot of card advantage. Holy moly. That was a draw 4 and a 2/2 body. Oh, another Urza Saga is dope. So I can eat this for blue, so I can go ahead and start playing Urza Sagas. Alright, so that's blue. And we'll make an Urza. Oh. Fuck is this? When it ETBs, choose up to one target creature or planeswalker spell, its owner puts on the top or bottom of their library. Rough. That's also neat with with Ephemerate. Do I want to draw that again? I want to draw that again. Slightly awkward without the food, but probably fine. And now my opponent can draw 2 more cards. Oh, wow. Yeah, I feel like I am just going to get buried by my opponent's card advantage here. But maybe I shouldn't be too pessimistic. I won through something where, like, I thought I was very obviously dead last game, so here's to hoping. This is something big. Oh. More cards. I thought I was going to have to discard here. Got just a breeding pool. Play Blooming Marsh this turn, I think. And I can make an end turn Urza Saga construct token. Make another Urza Saga, play an Urza Saga. Get Urza in there sometime a little bit later. In theory, I also could just cast the Urza this turn, but then the Teferi could minus and bounce that construct token. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and play my tapped land and call it a turn. Double Muldrifter also has a reasonable chance of just, like, clocking me and killing me before I can get anything going. Opponent's deck is cool. Scavenger Elemental. That's honestly pretty dope. I wonder how much, like, heavy lifting Utopia... Damn it! Utopia Sprawl does. Fuck! Fuck! Yeah. Alright. That's rough. So that ends up destroying my Urza's Saga. Not just shutting it off, but just fucking obliterating it. Good stuff. Oh, no. Yeah, I think that pretty much does it. So I lose both of my creatures here. My opponent attacks me for 4 down to 11. And then I face down lethal next turn. I can make a 1/4 and a 1/1 on my turn. Fuck. Alright, yep. I think it's time to concede. Alright, I get one more game here. So now I know there's more elementals. The Fatal Pushes are not necessarily going to do the things that I want them to do. Album's not great. Let's bring that bone shards back in. I guess if my opponent gets something big and scary into play, I would like to kill it. Like, am I supposed to Tezzeret? I don't know. I'm not feeling my sideboard options here. My removal's not quite generic enough to actually take out the creatures that I want to take out. If I cycle into a land, this hand is sick. Otherwise, it's unplayable. This hand does nothing. Like, I cannot cast a single card in this hand. 5. Okay. I'm unhappy with this hand as well. I probably have to keep at this point. But this isn't particularly potent. Yeah, this is on 5. Get rid of the bone shards and I guess the Osmore, and hope that my Gilded Goose sticks around so I can play Finale of Devastation on turn 2 and get something going. Alright. So, I probably need green-blue here. Yeah. Goose. Just think I'm instantly dead if Finale of Devastation doesn't resolve or my goose dies. Don't cook my goose. Okay. So my Urza Sagas all just got neutered. A little rough. Land would be great. Okay, land. Good stuff. Now I don't have to eat my food this turn. I'd have to get Overgrown Tomb. That doesn't work towards blue, but I think I'm just gonna accept that and keep the food around and try to use the food to cast Urza instead. Search Library. Osmore. Yes. Underworld Cookbook. I could play that immediately, but I don't think it's worth giving up my food. Like, the upside of playing it immediately is that I could do something like discard a Thought Monitor to make a second food and then kill a creature, but I don't think I want to do that. I mulled the 5 already. I'm low on resources. I think I need these cards if I'm going to have a realistic chance of winning the game. It'll just suck if my opponent, like, does something like Solitude into Ephemerate. Okay, Utopia Sprawl is fine. Okay. Alright, so I've got a Blooming Marsh, and I'm going to make an Urza here. I wish I had another mana. Well, okay, I guess it'll work out, probably. So if Urza doesn't get killed immediately, I can tap the Construct and put the Underworld Cookbook into play. Alright. Yep. I will put that back on top. And I'll get a Lightning Bolt worth of damage in. I'm already at 14 from self-damage, though. That's pretty rough. Okay. This is something that makes me want to have Fatal Pushes, but I hadn't seen it in the first couple of games. Alright, let's play the Cookbook. And then I will be able to, at least in theory, produce 2 foods and destroy the Risen Reef if I need to. Okay, it worked. Let's try to crash on in. I succeed. I'm going to go ahead and try to make these food now. Okay. Discard the Thought Monitor. And my opponent could respond right here with something like a Subtlety. Or, Subtlety is a bad example. Something like a Solitude, rather. Yeah, okay. That goes. So I'll lose Osmore here before I can do the whole, back 2 foods thing. Goodbye. See what happens with Risen Reef. Yeah. I think it's better to try and remove that thing on my turn before, like, Ephemerate and extra cards get put into the picture. Like, Solitude is something I knew could happen when I started making that line. But I think I just need to take a crack at removing that. Oof, now I might not be able to cast my Urza. Down to 6. Okay, that's just Kahira hand. That's fine. Alright. Untapped land, please. That sure doesn't do anything. Okay. Guess I'll play it. Wait, this is good for me. That destroys Alpine Moon, which means that Urza Saga becomes a valuable card again. I don't know if that was a correct play from my opponent. That feels sloppy. Thank you, Underworld Cookbook. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, in addition to needing an untapped land, it specifically does need to be an untapped blue land. Just throwing that out there, because I have Overgrown Tomb and Blooming Marsh. Let's get Hira in play. Get whacked for 2 this turn. And drop to 13. I think I need some, like, heart of the cards, friendship speech sort of stuff here. Alright. Ow. Okay. I don't think I'm gonna eat any food yet. Take 5, go to 6. And I'd like this construct to be larger than my opponent's stuff if I do rip the land. I'm not gonna eat food this turn. Okay. Okay. Yep. I take 5. I can eat a food. Stay alive for another turn. I have all these, like, quote-unquote combos that don't actually end the game when I assemble them. It feels bad. Okay. You got another land drop. I don't know that that was really worth the ephemerate. Yeah, like, you're missing points of damage here. I think I think just trying to kill me when I'm on limited resources is more important than those cards. That's my personal opinion. Like, unless Overtaste Daredevil was my turn, my draw for turn, which I happen to be, like, it's pretty unlikely that my food is going to is going to last through their assaults turn after turn. Alright. I'll go ahead and just do one of these now. And pick it back up. Go ahead and eat a food. And double my life total. Pretty close to dead here. Okay, there's a Flamekin Harbinger. That's bad. That's really bad. Now they can grab any number of things that are gross here. You know, a Fury, for example, as a double striker that could get my blocker out of the way is pretty devastating. I think I'm done, so. Oh, they've got an Omnath in there. Yeah, Omnath with a fetch land queued up and multiple Risen Reefs. I think this is probably the concession point for me. just ow. Alright, so that is an 0-4. We're gonna go ahead and drop this league. And let's spend a couple of minutes talking about the deck here. What I do and don't like, and what I think needs to change. So I'm an outsider to Modern, obviously. Like, I play a little bit from time to time. But here's my thoughts as an outsider to Modern. I'm gonna reiterate a lot of things that I said in the deck tech. First, the mana doesn't feel quite like everything works out right. I have a green thing that I need to pretty consistently be casting on turn 2. And let's just take a quick look. So these, this. So almost half my lands don't contribute towards casting one of my most critical early game spells. I see that as problematic. So I reiterate some of my thoughts on mana in that regard. And as in that game, like, we got stuck on Urzas. So if we take a quick look, 9 of these lands don't go and produce mana for Urza, right? Well, okay. Correcting that. 9 of these are non-blue sources that don't contribute towards the colored blue symbols that you need for Urza. So, like, either one of those things is probably okay, but when you have both of those things working together, that's kind of rough. I don't think I like some of these singletons in the main deck. Like, I don't think the Aether Spellbomb is particularly good. I don't know how I feel about these singleton black removal spells if you can't, like, realistically select for them in any capacity. I don't think they're particularly strong. The Springleaf Drum ended up being better than I thought it would be, but honestly, it ended up being better than I thought it would be because the mana was kind of sketch in this deck, and I just needed more mana than what I had. Straight Wraith wasn't particularly great. it was another way to get Osmore into play, which is like why it's in the deck in the first place. But between the fetches and shocks in this deck and the street wraiths, there's a lot of self damage. And theoretically, if you make it to the end game, you can gain a bunch of life and recoup that initial losses. But I don't know that I'm doing enough to make it out of the early game in a lot of cases. This deck is really slow. And I guess the biggest thing that I'm thinking here is I want more mana. Like, I think I'd rather have like 3 Birds of Paradise or something like that to increase the chances that I could actually go and cast something like Urza. I also think 4 Thought Monitor is probably way too many. This was a card that got pitched a lot in my mulligans, and a lot of times, if you have a bunch of foods already, you're already kind of like doing your thing, and so the draw 2 isn't the biggest deal in the world. I also feel a little bit awkward about Nettle Cyst, because in the times where you don't have something that repeatedly acquires food, it's medium. It's very good once you do have a bunch of artifacts, but not every hand creates a bunch of artifacts. So I guess conceptually, I just don't like this deck, is ultimately what this comes down to. You have a bunch of 2-card combos that don't actually win the game. Like, Osmore and Cookbook is fine sometimes, but it's not guaranteed to win the game. Cookbook Overchase Daredevil does nothing on its own other than make a bunch of food. And I think that's my problem. Like, Modern is a really high velocity format. Like, the decks are good. They're not quite legacy power level, but they're still very strong. And I just didn't particularly feel like I was doing the better thing most of the time. So I would like to make this deck more consistent, I think, by increasing the number of mana dorks in the game 1 scenarios. So I don't know, maybe something like 3 Birds of Paradise is okay. And I'd like to trim a couple Thought Monitors for something else that can actually win the game. Like, if the mana gets a little better, maybe a 4th copy of Urza becomes good, for example. But I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm doing killing good enough most of the time. And even when I'm on the Urza Saga draws, because I need a lot of mana endgame for things like Urza and Thought Monitor, when the Urza Saga removes itself, it's a big deal. And similarly, but from a slightly different angle, if I don't have a bunch of food, then the Urza Saga tokens themselves are pretty small in this deck, you know? It's really reliant on something like Underworld Cookbook plus Overchase Daredevil in order to get the Urza Sagas to really pop off and be amazing. As far as the sideboard goes, I just felt like I had cards. And by that, I mean, I don't really feel like I had just a good, solid plan for sideboarding. Like, there was stuff here that I could board in. But Fatal Push missed a bunch of threats, for example, and I don't have a catch-all like Prismatic Ending or Path to Exile, which just answers everything without a, real downside. Assassin's Trophy was fine, but I wonder if the Fatal Pushes should be split between multiple other removal spells or something like that. I love the art on this card. I don't know. More win conditions is good, but again, the mana was tight, and getting to the 4-drops was sometimes hard, so I don't know that boarding in more 4-drops is the answer. Yeah, I think if I were going to retool this sideboard, I would try to see if there's some sort of 3-mana win condition that I could be playing in these slots. But I don't know. I just did not feel great about this deck, and I didn't feel good about the food deck when I played it a month or 2 ago either. Like, this deck's neat, and when it does its thing, and when you have it all, it's really cool. But I just don't feel like this deck is consistent enough for me to, like, stake tournament results on it or anything like that. All right, Joshua, I hope that was helpful for you. Those are my thoughts as an outsider. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, click the like button. It's the easiest way to support my content. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage content 5 days a week. If you want to muck with this deck on your own and see if you can improve it, the deck list is in the video description. And if you have any thoughts for how to improve this, throw it in the comments. Am I underestimating this deck? Did I have bad variants? Let me know what you think. Have a great rest of the day.